We have completed major theories on international trade. So today we'll be beginning a new topic, that is modes of entry into international business. That is, we have studied various theories given by various economists. Right? Today we'll be studying if a business wants to move to international business. Right? What are the ways or what are the methods of entering? Number so here we have 8 different modes of entry. Okay, exporting, licensing, franchising, contract manufacturing, turnkey projects, foreign direct investments, mergers and acquisitions, and joint venture. So these are the 8 different modes that we will be studying. Okay, starting off with exporting. Now, exporting is the basic method, or it's the most traditional way of having an international business. Yes or no? The basic method, in case you as a company want to reach out your product to another country, the first step that any trader would think about is to export the products, right? No, export means it deals with the physical movement of goods and services from one country to another. That's the simplest meaning of what is exporting. Now, it does not require the goods to be produced in a target country and no investment in foreign production facilities. Now, why would we call it as the most traditional and well established is because this exporting mode of entry does not require goods to be produced where in the target country. Now if from India I am targeting to sell my goods to Nepal, country of Nepal, I do not have to produce the goods in country of Nepal, right? I need to produce here in the home country and I only need to export them. Okay, so I do not need to have an extra investment in the foreign production facilities. That is, in case I want to export it to Nepal, I don't need to open a production unit there. Okay, when in case of exporting. What are the merits? It is less risky. As we know that compared to any other modes, right, exporting involves less risk. That is, the company understands the culture, the customs of the market gradually. Okay, only then when it understands and realizes, yes, there is a market for my product in Nepal, only when I understand that or realize the importance of the product, I try to export it. So comparatively the risk is less. Okay, it's not that there is no risk. Okay, there is risk even in exporting, but comparatively there is less risk. Then limited finance required. I just mentioned to you, correct? I do not have to open a production facility in the host country, that is the country to which I am exporting. I need not open. Okay, I need to produce it in my home country and then I need to sell it or export it. Therefore, I require limited finance. Next, what are the demerits? Demerits talks about trade restriction. As I told, when I'm dealing with another country, another economy or a border, there is a lot of restrictions and rules and regulations given by the those countries' governments. So, if any of those rules we are not able to follow, or the rules are quite strict, it will affect our exports, right? It will affect our business of export in case the government puts any kind of restrictions. Then cultural differences. Now in case we are not going to have enough study before exporting, in case the people dislike it, or in case the products or services are affecting their culture or affecting their choices or taste and preferences, then it becomes a disadvantage for our company. Okay, so we need to make a proper study before we enter into any country or any market. That is why the market study is so important. What do the people like? What is the need, right? What are the tastes and preferences? What is their income? What is their savings habit? What is their purchasing habit? I need to study a lot of aspects before I enter into any business, not just international. Even if I have to enter into a local business, I first need to study the market, right? That's about exporting. Moving on to the second mode of entry called as licensing, which is a company that wants to get into an international market quickly while taking only a limited financial and legal risk might consider licensing agreements with foreign companies. As I told, exporting, you're directly dealing, right, from your country products, home country to the host country, you're directly dealing. As I told, there can be a lot of government involvement in this particular point. When we are exporting, there's a lot of government restrictions or government taxes, etc. Now, an easier way to enter into the international business is licensing. What is licensing? It is an agreement, okay, that allows a foreign company, that is the licensee, to sell the products of a producer, the licensor, or use its intellectual property in exchange for royalty fees. Is that clear? Now there are two parties here, licensor and the licensee. Okay, so the licensor is the person who is producing the product, okay, or owner of the product. If I am producing product X, okay, I have introduced the product X, that means I am the licensor. Okay, now I get into contact with the person in Nepal. Okay, now they agree to use my intellectual property. Okay, now if you have studied the about intellectual property rights, IPR, okay, you can google it later, where it talks about patents, trademarks, copyrights, etc., which is exclusively given to the owner only. Nobody else can replicate it or duplicate the product. Okay, they can be taken to the court of law if they do that. But under licensing, the licensor, that is, if I am the owner of the product, I can allow the foreign company to use my trademark or to use my copyright. Is that clear? I myself am giving the rights for them to use it. In order, what is the benefit for me if I give the right? Royalty. Okay, if I give them the permission to use my brand, my product, they can produce it there, but then they have to use my company logo or company name, brand name, etc. Okay, in that case, what is the producer gaining? Royalty fees. Okay, so the licensee will take the permissions from the licensor, use the products or produce the goods. Okay, in exchange, it will pay the fees to the licensor or the owner of the product. Is that clear? What are the merits or what is the advantages? Easy entry into foreign markets. As I just mentioned, compared to exporting, licensing is much easier. Okay, it's much easier to enter into foreign market, because am I representing directly my company over in Nepal? No, there is a local person from Nepal or a trader from Nepal who is doing my business under my identity or under my brand name. That way, it is less legal restrictions for me. Second merit is it reduces the risk for both the parties. As I told, exporting, if there's any loss, it is a complete loss for the owner of the product. Okay, because I'm directly entering into the market. If people don't like it or if there is no sale, I completely lose it. Okay, now that is not the same in case of licensing. Under licensing, because there is a local trader who is using my product or brand name can market my product in a better manner. Yes or no? Because that local trader will understand the psychology or will understand the purchase or savings habits of that local people, okay, and try to market the product in a better way. Okay, instead of me conducting a whole study of the market, understanding them, in case I do under licensing, it is less effort for me and also reduces risk on both the parties. Okay, so that way the risk is always shared over here between the licensor and the licensee. What are the demerits? It increases the opportunity for IP theft because I'm giving the trader the permission to use my brand name, okay, or the logo of my company, etc. That local trader can misuse my IP rights, that is, my trademark or my copyright, etc. Right? In case there are people who can duplicate my product in the local market over there, okay, that can be one of the major disadvantage under licensing. Okay, those traders can just misuse my brand name. If they're not keeping up to the standards of the brand, people will definitely dislike it, so the reputation of the my company will go down. That is about the damage of reputation. So in case he is not able to market it so well or sell my product in a efficient manner, then the reputation of the brand will go down, both for the licensor as well as for the licensee. Now few of the examples over here is Coca-Cola and Pepsi. How did these companies enter into Indian market? It is through licensing. Okay, have you seen the way these Coke or Pepsi drinks are being marketed or advertised on our TVs, right? It is more pleasing to the Indian psychology, using emotions or using a celebration movement in India, etc. There are a lot of ways how you can market a product. So only a local person in India can establish an ad that is pleasing to the Indian market, because he will know what Indians like, right? How can I portray the product in a way that people would purchase it? Okay, so that way Coca-Cola company as well as Pepsi company entered India only to the way of licensing. That's about the second mode of entry. Moving on to the third mode of entry called as franchising. Now, it is more or less the same form of licensing. How does licensing work? You understood, right? Franchising also works the same way, okay? But then this is mostly used for services. Okay, franchising is mostly used for services such as fast food, business to consumer services, business to business services, etc. So the idea of franchising chain is that all parties use an uniform model in order to make the customer of a franchising chain may feel that he is dealing with the franchisor company itself. Now the idea is the same, guys, okay? As licensing, franchising also, if I'm the owner of a fast food restaurant, okay, a fast food, like for an example KFC, okay, now if I have introduced that company called as KFC, it's a fast food center, I appoint or I can enter into the market of Japan, okay, for an example, from USA to, okay, let's say from USA to India it is entering, okay. So the person under the mode of entry of franchising can enter into Indian market, okay. So here what is the condition is, everything has to be the same. How the shop looks, how the product is, the size of a product or the quality of a product, the ambience within the shop, everything has to replicate as according to the home country or the person who has introduced the product. Just as that company is in USA, same way it has to be replicated in India. Have you gone on to McDonald's outlets, on KFC outlets? Don't you think that all the outlets look the same, right? All the McDonald's outlets look the same. The color, the seating, the ambience, etc. Also with Burger King or KFC, etc. Let's look at the advantages. Risk of business failure is reduced. Now here what happens under franchising is that I'm going to tell you exact things, okay? Under licensing, I'm just allowing you to use my trademarks or allowing you to use my intellectual property. But under franchising, every detail the franchisor will inform the franchisee. I'm repeating, the franchisor will explain in detail about the business to franchisee. The color, the ambience, the kind of products you need to use, the paint you use in the room, everything. Every detail has to be replicating as if it is the original, as if just KFC originated in India or McDonald's originated in India. That's what it says, the last line. See there? Customer may feel that he is dealing with the franchisor's company itself. Okay. So if you can look at the picture also, can you see all the stores look the same? There's nothing absolutely changed. So there is a risk of business failure that is reduced over here because here everything is monitored by the franchisor. Therefore, the risk of failure is very much less. Established market share. Now, before a company enters into another country in the form of franchising, the company will already have a good brand name in the home country. It is a very established business over there. Now, when that company has to enter into India through a local trader or a local business trader, it is going to give all the details in terms of establishing the business. That way, it will have a good market share in India. Don't you think McDonald's and KFC have a good market share in the fast food industry in our country? Yes or no? We all can agree to that. Why? Because it is a well-established market. What can be the disadvantages? Constant monitoring. As I told, licensing does not require much monitoring, but franchising requires a constant monitoring. As we told, yes, here franchising, it has so many shops across the globe, right? That means all those shops, all those outlets, the franchisor has to keep a constant check upon it. So that's one of the disadvantage. Next is includes restriction. That is very much common, right? If there is always a foreign company, the governments will always put a additional tax or some kind of restrictions, etc. Is that clear? The kind of food products or ingredients used in the Western market cannot be used in Indian market because it is not suitable or it is restricted over here. So that can be the disadvantage under franchising. Let's study what are the types of franchising. There are three: product, manufacturing and business format. Under product manufacturing, this is the most earliest type or the basic type of franchising under which the dealers, that means if from USA a company is franchising in India based on product franchising, then it only gives the right to distribute the goods to the manufacturer. Okay, there is a person who is manufacturing the goods in a home country. Under product manufacturing or product franchise, I as a dealer or a local dealer in host country will only distribute the goods. Okay, now what do I pay? For this right, the dealer has to pay the right to sell the trademarked goods to the producer. Now, because I'm distributing their company goods, okay, I have to pay them fees. So one of the major product franchisee is, as I just mentioned, right, soft drink companies. Okay, they give all the basic supplies. What the local dealer have to do is mix it and just supply it in the bottles or supply it in the various containers. Okay, the example of Coca-Cola, this company only sells the syrup concentrate, okay, because the taste that you get in Coke you cannot get in any other soft drink. Okay, so that concentration of syrup is given by the franchisor, that is the original Coke company. Okay, and then it is up to the dealer to mix the concentrated drink and put it into containers or bottles and then sell it. Then comes business franchisee. Now, this is an agreement under which the franchisor offers a wide range of service. As I told, this is a complete package. Okay, because I'm going to establish a wide market. I'm going to tell you all the details, that is marketing, advertising, planning, training, production of operational manuals, standards and quality, control guidance, everything. It's a complete package because I'm talking about a proper business establishment, okay, in a foreign country. Therefore, I'm going to be giving you the complete details. I already gave you the example of McDonald's and KFC. Next, we have management franchisee. Now here, the franchisor gives the dealer the exclusive right to produce and distribute the product in a particular area. Now here what happens is that the product or a particular service, the franchisor allows for you to produce that product or render that kind of service in order for you to what? Pay a royalty fees or pay certain franchising fees. Okay. Now, what are the commonly used under this management is fast food, hotels or restaurants. The picture that you can see is one of the reputed, or I could say a 5-star or a 7-star hotel. Okay. Hotel where this kind of hotels or restaurants operates only in a particular territorial area. That means, let's say, only in the posh areas of Bangalore, posh areas of certain state or a country. Okay, so management franchisee means it allows the franchisee to produce as well as distribute. Okay, product franchisee is only distributing product. Business franchisee is a complete package. Management franchisee is produce and distribute a product or a service in what? In a particular area. Got it? So these are the 3 types of franchising. Let's just study the differences between licensing and franchising. Now, licensing is concerned with specific existing products and technologies, but whereas franchising passes the franchisee the benefits of ongoing research programs. So in case there's any development in the existing product, the franchisor will pass on this information to the franchisee, but that does not happen in terms of licensing. There is no goodwill attached to the licensing as it is totally retained by the licensor. Now, under licensing, the goodwill or the reputation is totally attached to whom? The licensor, that is the owner of the product. Although franchisor does retain the goodwill, the franchisee picks up an element of localized goodwill. As I told, when the franchisor allows the complete package to the dealer also enjoys over here some amount of goodwill in the local market. Under licensing, it enjoys substantial measure of fee negotiation. Okay. Now, as and when the product or business is improving, the licensor can increase the amount of royalty to be paid. Under franchising, it is a standard fee structure. Whatever we have agreed upon first, that will be continued in the payment. Then licensing is lesser control. As I told, I just give you permission to open a shop in my brand, in my logo in Nepal. I'm not going to come and control over there. But under franchising, I just mentioned to you, it's a complete package. Every single detail the franchisor is going to control or instruct the franchisee. Okay, so these are the major benefits under licensing and franchising.